Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Today I've got to get some lighting on my workbench. And y'all know I live in an RV, kind of giving away a little hint back there. And RVs are running off of 12 volts for most of the lights inside. And why not tap in to some of that 12 volt power that's running all over the RV instead of trying to run these things off of a wall wart or my workbench power supply, which is what I've been doing until now. Let's go get after it. There's not a lot of direct overhead lighting. The camera's making the lighting look better than it actually is. What I have is this in the corner. And then I've got one in the ceiling, and I've got one over in the other corner behind the fan. And then I have this makeshift little USB light, which actually isn't too bad. Let's turn it up to full brightness. That's as bright as it gets. And now you can see how the workbench looks with that light on and off. But that ain't nearly enough to get work done, so we're going to put some more lights on this bench. I am on a quest to keep everything I can 12 volts DC. So these are LED lights, and what it says is 12 volts to 36 volts, 18 watts, and it is 5,000 Kelvin with 2,000 lumens. What's funny about DC lights is the way they want you to wire them up. So this is the plug for the light itself, and then on the end it's actually just a poorly constructed set of alligator clips. They didn't even slide the booties back on. The wire is just soldered on in place, and they didn't crimp down the connector on it to hold the wire in place, and it's pretty light gauge wire. It's good enough for what we're doing, but could be a little bit better. These come in a 3-pack, and they're 2 foot each. You can either connect them directly together end to end, which I think is what I'm going to do, with this little adapter thing here. So now that's a 4-foot light, or there are little cables, but then you can also hang these lights from, chain dropped from the ceiling. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, and then this piece here can be screwed directly into the shelf that I have up above, and then I can clip the light into place. And then they just snap right in. Now the question is, will they hold going down the road? They seem pretty solid right now. And now that they're installed and powered up, boom! That is bright. I dig it. The lights have been working out really well. They've been in a bunch of videos here lately. You might see some stuff on the bench that has been in a video recently or is coming up in a video here soon. And they have survived several trips, 3 hours each down the road in the RV. So looking good on that front. These lights are already 12 volts. So I'll pull the cover off. And then we'll get this unscrewed, and somewhere in there, oh, that's kind of sticky for some reason, that's weird. Somewhere in there is some wire nuts. There we go. There's one wire nut. There's the other wire nut buried. There we go. Why is that all sticky? That's weird. So, we've got a couple of wire nuts in there. I'm just going to directly connect into that 12 volts. So this is the brains of an RV. So we've got AC on one side, breakers, and we have DC on the other side, fuses. And I was ready to say, let's turn the breaker off, but you don't have DC breakers, you have DC fuses in an RV. So we have 2 different light circuits, 4 different light circuits. Oh, great, it could be any one of those. All right, I'm gonna pull them one at a time until we figure it out. Got it in 2. It wasn't the top one labeled light, number 3. It was number 4 labeled light. And now we are mostly dead. There's still a little tiny bit of light that shows up on there. Wow. Where's this switch? I'm going to show up on the camera. Yeah, see, look at that. There's a little bit of bleed through on there. I don't like that at all. So I'm totally in the dark here in more ways than one. I've pulled every fuse out of the panel. Light's still on. That's what it looks like with it off. That's what it looks like with it on. And then we come back here to the electric panel, and every single fuse is gone from that left-hand side The only thing left is those two 40 amp fuses here, but I've disconnected everything in circuit. WTF, over. In that case, I just put all the fuses back in and it's back on, and we'll have to do it a different way. And for RVs, this gets fun because that means I need to switch off that circuit breaker right there, because that circuit breaker powers a battery charger which charges the battery and also provides 12-volt power to the whole RV. So even if I disconnect the battery in the battery box, we're still going to have problems. So I have to go totally dark in order to get this done. No battery, no shore power, no solar power if you got it. And for me right now, my solar is in experimentation and learning mode as we charge the battery with the charge controller and the big boy panels. These are going on the roof. So be sure you're subscribed so you know when that video is ready, because that's gonna be fun too. All right, I got a bunch of parts on the workbench here to get this job done. What I have is some pretty little dress-up panels here, one for each side of the workbench. And then these are called panel poles. They're power poles, but they're for panels. And we like power poles in the 12-volt world. And they come with the, I call them spoons because they look a little bit like a spoon, and these crimp onto your wire and they go into the terminals on this side here, so you can actually make really easy connections. So as an example, this is a regular wire that I have made up, and this actually goes to a charge controller configuration I have to charge my batteries, and it only goes in one way. You see how it's red and black? It doesn't fit. Now, yeah, you can be crazy and you can force it to fit by rearranging some stuff, but it's designed to go straight in like that, make a nice positive connection. There's even retention clips you can get to make sure that they never come back out if that's your thing. But I want this set up here for my lights that are right up here lighting up the workbench. So I need to get some cables made up and get these guys here ready to roll. These 2-port connectors are the exact same price as the single port connector. I only need 1 port, but since it's the same price, I'm going to do 2. What happens with these guys is, where I took the light off the wall, this is going to be big enough and pretty enough to hide it, and then this here is going to be the cover. I'm not going to use the cover indoors, but if you were using these outdoors or in a more water-oriented scenario, you could make that happen. So I'm going to put the logo up in line with that. There's a cap here for the waterproof if that's your thing. And then this screws onto the back of that plate, and then that plate will screw into the wall. Another thing that I have to make this job easy is some splice connectors. Sometimes these things are called Wagos. These aren't the official Wago brand, but they do the exact same Wago thing. And what I'm going to do is, for some reason, those lights have more than one conductor coming to them. So there's 2 hot wires coming in. I guess it's one that comes in and one that goes farther on down the circuit. And then the panel mounts here are going to take up another 2 of those. So I need a 4, but in my kit I didn't get 4s. I only got 2s and 3s and 5s. So I'm going to use a 5. And what these guys here do is they actually, they're lever locks, and they clamp down on the wire, and then all of these are internally connected. So these are like wire nuts for 2024. Why they didn't invent these billions of years ago, I don't know. But here we are today, and we've got cool technology. So I'm going to use 2 of these, one for negative, one for positive, and then connect up all my wires to it. So I need to make some short jumpers. So I need crimpers, I need wire, and I need wire strippers. And I really don't need much wire to get this job done, because I'm just making little tiny jumpers. And I don't even need to have them stay together, which will make it a little bit easier for me to work with them. And give it a little twist and put it in there. Our crimp tool's got a little catch cover on the back of it, and I like ratcheting crimp tools because they just make life easier for me. There's the red one. This wire stripper has this little wire gauge here, so I can cut the same amount off of each one every time. And then for these guys here, they just slide right in, and there's a little click when you get it all the way in right. And there it is. And if you don't have the dexterity for this, they do make a tool that helps you push that into place. All right, there we go. Good to go on both sides of that one. Only have 27 more to go. Beautiful. So one thing that I wanted to mention is I consider this metal part inside to be down, and I know it's upside down compared to how it's written, but just work with me on that part of it. This, the spoon piece that I was talking about, I consider that hook to also need to go down. So when you're working on this, you want to make sure that down matches down, otherwise these things don't snap in properly. And sometimes they go in real easy, and sometimes they don't. So that's why I use this little screwdriver here. But like I said, they do have a tool just for this purpose. So double check that I'm going in proper direction. Find an edge on that metal connector and shove it home. And you should hear it click when it gets in there. And it should not come out easy. That tool that I keep pointing out has a special design to it that will allow you to also remove as well as just plain old insert. All right, these guys are all in, and my workbench lights are out, and this guy isn't faking it this time. So now I can cut into these wires and not electrocute myself. And then to make my life a little easier, I'm gonna do them one at a time. And so step one is to get in here and cut this wire. Give these a good twist up. I'm gonna take white to red. Now we can do the white wires with the black stripes, or blue wires. White wires with the blue stripes, or blue wires with the white stripes, depending on your religion. And I find that doing them one at a time like that makes it so that you don't get confused and accidentally put black wires in white holes and white wires in black holes. Now they're all mated up. Let's get you a good close-up on that. That's what it looks like when we've got them all set in together. All that stuff back in that hole in the wall. Okay, need some screws. And then lucky for me, RVs are made so poorly that I don't have to go to the store and buy screws. These screws are all over the place, under the cabinets, behind the couch, in the bathroom, wherever. These screws are everywhere. So I got plenty of screws for this project. And since nothing is level in an RV, I just need to get this close, and that's good enough. Here's one. I don't know what's worse. It being slightly off in level, or it being that close to a screw hole and not having the screw hole line up. So there we go. Fully installed. I'll get you a better beauty shot when the lights are on, but I can't do much about those screw holes. I can kind of fill them with caulk and cover them over or something. We'll figure something out in the future. But for now, I've got power. And we've got light. These lights are plugged in via this cord. And right now they got alligator clips on them. I've got to get those switched over to power pole plugs, and I'm going to shrink this cord down because I don't need this much cordage. So the goal here is to put power pole connectors on the end of these wires, and since I don't have my overhead lights that these wires power, we're gonna have to deal with lesser light. But this is a set of power pole connector thingies that I have gotten, and I need a red, and I need a black, and I need 2 spoons. What you need to do first is put the booty on, because if you don't put the booty on first, you can't put it on second. And then once that is inside the connector and you've heard that little click in place, you can put the boot over top of it. And now you've got a nice professional looking cable that you made all by yourself. And there are the workbench lights. And I've zip tied it up temporarily. I got to get some screw in cable tie holders, but there is a light switch. And that is the journey so far on building out the ham radio workbench. Over on the RV channel, we put a hole in the wall to run coax and other sundry cables through. I'll put a link to that video up top there. Now we've got light, and next up I've got some custom coax cables and a flush mount workbench top coax connector adapter thing that y'all are gonna really like. So make sure you are subscribed for that video when it comes out. In the meantime, there's a video right here I think you'll enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.